Washing my tears away, I watch my heartbreak go down the drain. My heartbreak go down the drain.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Barely Balanced podcast. I am your host, Haley Thompson, and this is our very first episode, which I am so excited for. Today, I have a very special guest. We have been friends since, I would say, freshman year. So we've been friends for a very long time, and I'm so excited to have her here, and I'm going to give her the mic so she can introduce herself.
Hey, I'm Lori Aiden. I am from Terre Haute, born and raised. Like Haley said, we've been friends since high school. It seems like forever ago now. But I just wanted to come on and kind of talk about finding yourself again after motherhood and marriage, and even just as a people pleaser in general, like setting boundaries and identifying who you are outside of those things. So that's kind of where I wanted to go and talk about today. I know Haley has gone through some similar situations after having her kids as well, and, finding out who she is and underneath being a mom and a wife. So, yeah.
I know it's a lot.
Mhm.
And it's not discussed enough.
Mm-mm.
So it makes you feel like you're so alone
Mhm.
and you don't really have an outlet to talk about these things. So that's why when I decided to rebrand, I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to bring people on so
Mhm.
others can see that we're all very
Yeah.
much the same. Like we're
Yeah.
going through the same things,
Mhm.
even if the roads are different.
Right. Right.
So let's talk about, when did you have your first baby?
I had my first baby in 2016. So
Yeah,
that seems like so long ago now.
I
But
know.
we had gotten married in November of 2015, and I
Mhm.
found out I was pregnant in January. So,
Yep, that's how it
yeah,
was with us too. It was
right
like, bam.
into marriage and having a baby.
Well, and that's a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tyler and I, we really struggled with
Yeah.
that because we didn't really have that first year of
Right.
marriage because we were just throwing
Yep.
ourselves into parenthood
Mm-hmm.
immediately.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of navigate marriage and on top of
Yeah.
pregnancy and the unknown and all
Mm-hmm.
of these things.
Everything's new all at once.
Exactly. And then you're like, oh my gosh, we have this baby that we have to,
Yeah.
like, that's ours and we have to
Right.
take care of and all of these things. And yeah, it's a lot.
I remember getting home after we had Stella, and we were both sitting there like, okay, what do we do now? Like,
I
we're
know.
responsible for
When
this
all of the
human.
help and you're like, "Oh my gosh." So,
Yeah.
how was your postpartum journey compared to your first? And
Yeah.
yeah, so how did
So
that?
my first, I think, was a little better than the
Yeah.
other two. I had a really big community after having Stella. We
Yeah.
had a lot of friends and family, a real big village there. And then after we had Oliver, we moved away to
Yeah.
Oregon 6 months later after we had
Oh,
him.
yeah.
And so we left everything. We only had my in-laws there,
And
and
that's a lot.
yeah, it was tough. And I mean, they were there for us too, but you go from having like this big core village of people that
Exactly.
would drop anything to help you to having nothing at all. And I fell into a really dark place after moving there. And
Mhm.
it's hard to navigate too because we were excited to move and like
Exactly. And
be
fresh
on this
start.
new
Yeah.
adventure, but then also like terrified and struggling at the same time. And I remember like just driving down the road, like my life is all like I hate this.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
I hate being so responsible for these people. I hate not have like my kids. I like
Yeah,
it's so much pressure. I love them with all of my
I
heart,
know.
but also I don't have anybody there for me. Like I have people that
Exactly.
will help with them,
Well, you
but
almost like forget about yourself.
yeah.
You're put on the back burner,
Mhm.
but then it surfaces
Right.
when you're dealing with all of these emotions and
Mhm.
you don't have an outlet, like I was saying, to talk about it, or people say, "Well, you're crazy," or "You
Yeah.
need to go talk to a doctor," or "You need help." And it's
Mhm.
like, "No, I just need you. Like I
Right.
need some form of
Yeah.
communication." And also, I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but when we first had Emberly, I did feel like we had such a big support
Mhm.
system, but then afterwards, everyone just kind of fell
Yeah.
off because they were like, "Oh, second
After it's
baby," and
not a new baby
it's
anymore.
not no longer
Yeah.
exciting. Or once they're a little bit older and
Yeah.
not squishy and sweet
Mhm.
and they're raging
Yep.
toddlers, they're like, "Oh, well, they can't come over
Yeah.
today." And
Yeah.
it's like,
Or you
"Okay."
keep having more and it's like less exciting the more
Well,
you have
the
because they're like,
comments,
yeah.
yes, and
Oh, it's
that's
another one.
oh,
What's one more?
yeah, yeah, all of the time, and it's
Yeah.
like, wow, it kind of makes you feel discouraged for
Yeah.
having more than the average, one or two
Mhm.
kids.
Yeah.
So, now about you moving,
Yeah.
how long were you in Oregon?
We moved there at the very beginning, January of 2019, and we
Mhm.
moved back in August of 2021. So right around 3 years.
Yeah.
And we actually had a miscarriage there, and then my third child in Oregon as well during COVID, which
Oh my gosh.
added
So,
on
yep.
to the craziness of being a mom and
Yeah.
having kids. Um, I actually went in for my miscarriage, and they
Mhm.
wouldn't let anyone in with me. I had to do it all by myself because of
Yeah.
COVID. So
Well, and
that
that
was
that
just
messes with
traumatic
you.
all in
Yeah.
itself. And so trying to navigate through that. And then we ended up pregnant right after, which
Yep.
I already felt guilty because I'm like, there's people that I know and love that have been trying to have kids for
Yep. I
so
can relate
long.
100%.
And then automatically I get pregnant again.
I
I'm like,
know.
I'm not even excited anymore because
See?
I feel guilty
Yep.
about having another. And then it was COVID. I was by myself. No one could go to doctor's appointments with me. No
That's how it
one
was
could
with
go to
Zane.
those. And I'm like, this is terrible.
Well, and no one talks about the PTSD after
Yeah.
miscarriages
Mhm.
because I remember I also had Zane in 2020. So we had had a miscarriage before him. And so I can relate to that
Yeah.
completely. And our first doctor's appointment up until the end, Tyler couldn't go with
Right.
me. So every appointment, I was just waiting for that shoe to drop.
Right.
I was waiting for them to tell me there's no heartbeat,
Right.
like there's nothing we can do.
And then also being by yourself, like
And
already
yes,
dealing with
exactly. And
all of that.
I don't think that in the moment you just almost feel numb like you were
Mhm.
saying. I tried to get excited
Right.
and then I felt guilty for not being excited,
Yeah.
but I'm like I said, I was just waiting for that shoe to drop
Mhm.
and the bad news to come.
Yep.
So I was mentally preparing myself every time, and no one talks about that
Right.
either.
Right.
And then no one talks about after you have the baby and it's perfectly healthy and you're like, okay, well, why did I go
Yep.
through
I just wasted 9 months of
I
like
know.
worrying and stressing out over something and then trying to dig yourself out of that pregnancy depression into postpartum. And I think my with Oakland it was the worst postpartum that I had. I think
Yep.
just a mix of everything with COVID and miscarriage before and just like not having
Well,
anyone.
and bringing another baby
Yeah.
home, and that adds so much stress and chaos that people don't talk about
Yeah.
either. You get home and you're used to it just being,
Mhm.
you guys, and then there's another baby
Yeah,
and they
now we're
want
outnumbered.
exactly, and they want all the
Yeah.
attention and you're being pulled in so many different directions.
Especially having them back to back because they're all like
Yes.
the same age
Yep.
realistically.
And
Like,
they all have the same,
mhm.
needs. So your mind is constantly running about, oh my
Yep.
gosh, this baby needs this and this child needs this. And am I giving this baby enough
Mhm.
attention? Like you're just constantly feeling the doubt
Mhm.
and it's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And if you talk about it, then it's like, well, just, be grateful
Be
that you have them,
grateful. Yeah.
and
At
it's like,
least you have them. And I'm like,
yes.
oh my
But
gosh.
we were never intended to do it
Right.
alone,
Right.
either, and I tell
Right.
Tyler that all the time. I'm like, we almost rely more on our close
Mhm.
friends as our little
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we've had to create our own village,
Same. Yeah.
which, I mean, we have great family, but they can't always
Right.
help,
Right.
so, and just getting out of the house for play dates too.
Mhm.
I'm
It's
really
more exhausting than
well,
anything
exactly,
sometimes, but
but I also, always tell Tyler, like, I didn't used to wanna leave the house
mhm.
with all of the kids,
Right.
especially by myself. Like,
Mhm.
I've actually never told anyone this besides Tyler, but, I would be nervous. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have 3 or 4 kids that
Mhm.
I have to, like, take to this public place, and
Yeah.
I hope they behave, and if they don't,
I
and
have
then"
multiples in diapers. Where am I going to change their diapers
exactly,
with
exactly, and am I
all
gonna
of
be
these children?
yes, yes. So when I started just throwing myself out there, I'm like, please, like, just go
Yeah.
with me,
Mhm.
and making friends that way. That's something that I recently started doing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, why didn't I do that before? But you like
Well, it's
talk
hard
yourself
too
out of it.
because like Riley went back to work immediately after having
So
our
did
kid. Like
Tyler.
we couldn't
Yep,
afford for him not to.
yep,
And so as much as he wanted to like be there and support, he also has to provide for the family at that
yep.
point too. He's like, "Okay, you're going to have to just do it
I know.
or
Yep.
or not."
And that honestly puts a lot of stress on your
Yeah.
marriage too,
Mhm.
because I almost felt, even though Tyler and I own our own business and we can
Mhm.
kind of make our own schedule, he has to,
Right.
provide, and he has to be out of the house
Mhm.
for us to make money.
Right.
And I almost resented him because I'm like, you get to go
Mhm.
and leave and you get to drown all
Yeah.
of it out, and I'm over here just it's from the moment I wake up till the moment you get home,
Yep.
it's go, go, go for me
Mhm.
while trying to maintain the
Right.
business
Right.
because who else is going to do it if I don't?
Then I would feel guilty when he gets home as well because I'm like, you just worked all day long, but
Yep.
now I need
I need
you
you to
to
take
take the
over.
kids. Like, you
Yes.
have to do this now because I've been drowning in cries all
Yes.
day long and I
And then
need a
your
break.
husband wants attention and
Mhm.
it's like, don't touch me.
Yep.
Like, just,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to be
I'm
touched.
overstimulated already. I'm
Yeah.
out-touched. And then they're like,
Exactly.
okay, well, I've been working all day. And it was never like rude or like
Yeah.
a way of
It's
making
just a
one
kind of
sound
like a
lesser.
comparison
Yeah.
game. And it
Right.
really messes with you because you're like,
Mhm.
we're on the same team here, but we're getting,
Yeah.
lost in the mix of all of this chaos. So how, now that the kids are older,
Yeah.
how is your marriage now that you are out of the
Yeah,
trenches?
it's so much better. I
Yeah.
think we've got to grow up together. I mean, we've been
Yep.
married for 10 years this year. And
Yep.
so we've got to grow into adults. We were children when we
Literally.
got
Yeah,
married.
same.
And I mean, he's older than me, but he was very much a child when,
Oh,
when we
no,
got
I
married.
always say
Um,
Tyler is my sixth kid
yeah, for
still,
sure.
and he always will be.
Yeah.
It's just,
And so I think going through all that together has strengthened us
yep, I agree.
ourselves, and our marriage has really been thriving, but
Mhm.
it's really only been like the last year
Yep.
that I've been focusing on myself, like finding who I am outside of a mom. Like, what do
Yep.
I actually like what do I like to
I
do?
understand that.
Who
Yep.
am I really? Because
Yes.
I grew up as a people pleaser. I would just be a yes
Me
person.
too.
I think I desired so much to be understood and accepted that I was just like, yeah, I like that, or yeah,
Same.
let's do that. And now I jumped right into being a wife, then right into being a mom.
Same
And I'm
here.
like, I never really got to know like
No.
who I am
Yeah.
really. And so this past year has really been when I have decided to find some of those things. And
Yeah.
it's been so nice. Like, I feel like I'm a better wife and a better mom
I can agree with that.
taking
Yep.
care of myself. It's hard to do though. You feel guilty
Yep.
sometimes taking time away from your kids and your spouse to go do like even going to the gym for an hour. I'm like, I could be doing so many things for
Yep.
someone else, but that's my time. Same with therapy, like
No,
scheduling
yep.
a therapy session and actually going when I'm like, oh, I have 19 million things to do. I could reschedule and just skip.
That's me too. I will always, before I leave for the gym or before I leave to meet Tammy for a life coaching session, I will almost talk myself out of
Yeah.
it. Like I have to I have to physically prepare myself and
Mhm.
mentally prepare myself to leave the kids.
Yeah.
And it's a lot trying to find, someone to care
To
for
watch
them
them.
while
Yeah.
you're, doing all these things. So then you feel guilty that
Mhm.
you have to like interrupt someone else's schedule
Right.
or time. And you just feel so much guilt,
Mhm.
but I can definitely agree. So Tyler and I got married to Tyler when I was 19.
Mhm.
So we met in high school junior year, and I just remember I was like, this is the one, like
Mhm.
this is it. But I didn't picture us getting married so
Right.
soon.
Right.
But at the time, I was like, okay, it just feels right.
Mhm.
Like, so, I mean, we had to figure out, okay, how are we going to maintain a house,
Mhm.
paying bills,
Right.
car payments, doing all of these things while we were still, I mean, we weren't even of legal
Children.
age
Yeah.
to drink. I'm like, hello.
got pregnant with my second kid before I turned 21. So
Same,
like,
same.
I didn't even get to party
Kimberly
before having
was
children.
2
Yeah.
when I was 20, when I turned 21, and
Mhm.
I felt guilty for going out and
Right.
drinking.
Right.
But I mean, also, I didn't even want to party in my
Oh
20s.
yeah.
I feel like because I was doing so many bad
As a
things
high schooler,
in
yeah.
high school. Like, I look back now and I'm like, oh my
I
God.
partied enough for myself
I'm
in high
like,
school.
if my daughter or my
Mhm.
sons do that, I'm gonna watch them like a hawk.
Right.
See, and my mom didn't like my
Yeah,
mom
same.
tried to be my best friend.
Yep.
She, like, God love her, but she was just like, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I could tell her, I'm going to so and so's house. I would be in a field passed out
Literally.
drunk,
Mhm. So
and
by the time you're 21, you're like, I don't even
yeah,
really
I'm like,
want to
no,
drink at this point.
I'll just take a glass of wine, thanks. And they're like, what? But then you see all of
Yeah.
your friends. I don't know if this is something you've struggled with,
Mhm.
but you look on social media and you see your friends that haven't gotten married
Yeah.
yet or haven't had kids,
Mhm.
and they're in freaking Bora
Right.
Bora, or they're living their, like, what you would say their
Yeah.
best life in your 20s.
Right.
And you're like,
I
man,
didn't have
I
that.
know.
I
I'm like,
wish I would have, like,
I know.
those, like, fear statements in your brain, and I try to tell myself, like, "Okay, well, Stella will be 20 when I'm
Exactly.
40, and
And
I
we'll have
also
so
have a
much
lot
fun
of life."
together. And I'm like, we'll have so much fun
Right.
together with our kids when they're
When they're grown, I get
adults.
to take care of their kids, I get to be an active grandparent,
I'm,
I
s-
get to I've
yeah,
always wanted to be the parent that if they call and they're like, "We're struggling to pay rent," or, like, "This
yes,
happened," that we're there to support them,
yeah,
and I think by that time, we will be able to, like, build an investment in our family at that
exactly.
point, but it is hard not to feel, like, jealousy of
Yeah.
people our age just, like, going out and literally doing
Having no
whatever they
cares.
want, like,
Yeah.
no
They're just
responsibility.
carefree.
Yeah.
And Tyler and I talk about that all the time too, how, with our kids, we weren't handed any, like,
Mhm.
if I were to call and say,
Right.
"Hey, I need this," they'd be like, "Well, I'm sorry, like,
Right.
you're just gonna have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
You wanted to move out, so
Mhm.
you go and, you know, take care of it
Yeah.
yourself and find a way." So we had to find a way
Mhm.
to make money.
Right.
And we were doing anything and
Yeah.
everything. I was like selling signs, selling clothes, like we've got to make money. And I look
Yeah.
back now and I'm like, I will never allow my kids to think just because they turned
Mhm.
18 that they're no
We're not
longer,
there. Yeah.
that I'm not going to be there. And being an active grandparent, I'm so excited for that because
Same.
I know how my kids feel
Mhm.
that some of their family isn't as active as they
Right.
should be.
Right.
And now they're getting to the point where they're old enough to be like, well, why does so and so
Mhm.
get more
Yeah.
attention than I do, or why do they get to stay and I don't?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I will never put my
Oh,
kids
no.
through anything
I'll
that
be
I
the
went through.
grandparent that's like, "Okay, can you just bring them over every
Bring
weekend?" Or
yes, because I know what it's like
to
to
not
need
have yeah,
that
not have
help.
it. Mhm.
And I will never put my children through that.
No, same. And it's hard also to balance between like we weren't handed anything as well,
Exactly.
but then I'm like I want to be able to give my kids the world, but also teach them hard
Yep.
work. Like we're here to always help you, but you can't just make silly decisions and not reap the
Yep.
consequences. And so we're just now in a spot where we're like financially like
Yeah.
comfortable and like
Yep.
thriving, but it's taken a lot to get there and we've struggled so much that I don't ever want my kids to have to be scared of taking leaps or taking risks.
Yep.
I want them to know that we'll be here to catch you if you need so, but you also have to put in
The
hard
work.
work, you
See,
know?
and that's why I have the kids here. And people are always like, why do you like have them
Mhm.
at the shop? And they're so young. And I'm like, because they are sponges.
Yeah,
Like they see what's going on
right.
here. They see what we're building. And, I have to get the work done.
Mhm.
I don't feel as guilty though when they're here and they're
Yeah.
seeing like, we do this
Mhm.
for you guys.
Right.
And that's so important. I mean, they know now, okay, mommy and daddy have a business
Mhm.
and this is what they do. And even if there is times where old to new is taking us away from them,
Yeah.
they understand that what mommy and
Yeah.
daddy
The
do.
benefits of you guys
Exactly.
doing
And
that.
it's really cool to have them here seeing all this stuff. Like Emberly will watch me and I'll see her mimic me
Mhm.
later on. And I'm
Yeah.
like, they're absorbing
Right.
all of that.
And this is the time that you get to develop that sense of self and sense of hard work in them. Like what you give to them and feed them is who they're going to end up being.
Yep.
And the environment that they're in, they're going to be hard workers. They're going to know the value of their work doing
Well,
that.
that's another thing too. I look back, Tyler and I, we talk about how with our childhoods, like I feel like I had to grow up so
Mm-hmm.
fast.
Right.
And I look at Emberly and even Zane, because she's gonna be 7 and he's 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
they are kids.
Yep.
They're they don't have a worry in the
Right.
world. They're growing up in a safe,
Mm-hmm.
loving environment. Like they don't have to worry about if mommy and daddy are gonna have like blowout fights
Exactly.
in front of them
Or if the
or
power's going to
slamming.
go out or
Exactly, or if there's food in the fridge,
right.
like,
Right.
and I'm like, what a blessing that
Right.
is.
And those are the moments that I'm like, the struggle was worth it. Like, if anything
100%.
good came out of it, it's that
Yep,
now I get to kind of, turn that story and make it something different for my children and that
exactly.
they won't have to break those generational curses because they're not there. They get to just be kids and be free and grow into functional adults. Always say that that's my only goal as
Same.
a parent is to raise kids that are functional adults that can
Yeah.
thrive in society and just seeing them be able to be kids is such a blessing. Like you said, that they don't have to worry about that stuff.
No, I know. And the generational trauma, like, and breaking those generational
Mhm.
curses, no one talks about how difficult that is
No.
as a parent because I will notice sometimes, like, if I'm very overstimulated,
Mhm.
I have to almost talk myself out
Yeah.
of like freaking out. And I'm
Mhm.
like, no, you cannot do that because they will remember that.
Mhm.
Because I still remember those moments. Even as
Yeah.
almost 30 years old, I look back and I'm like, man,
Mhm.
that trigger is still
Right.
there from decades
Yep.
ago.
Or then like owning it and going to apologize to your children
Yep.
after like there's times where I lose it,
Yep.
like
Same.
I'm human, I'm a mom, I'm
Girl, those
overstimulated all the
getting them
time.
ready for school,
Yeah.
you're like, how did you forget
Right.
from yesterday that you know how to put your
Yeah.
shoes on
We do this every single
every
day.
single day?
And
And
then
then
being able to say sorry. Like, I
before
shouldn't
they
have.
enter school.
Right.
And
Because that's how they start their day. And then I'm driving and
100%.
I'm like, crap, I
I
just
know.
ruined their whole
I'm like, I
day.
need to call. I wish I
Mhm.
could just talk to her. And
Yeah.
then by the time I pick her up, she just
Yeah.
it doesn't remember.
But
But
it's good to teach healthy communication as well. Like you're not going to be perfect at
no,
all. I
never.
don't ever expect you to be. There's going to be these times. I mean, me and Stella go at it. I'm
Yeah.
like raising a miniature me and it
Oh yeah,
hits
and that's
me
hard.
tenfold. And so there are times where I'm like, girl, I can argue with you all day. I
Yep.
promise I can. And then being able to step back and say, okay, I'm the mom. I need to apologize. Like, so
Yep.
then she knows how to do that, how to apologize to people.
Well, and Lori too, it gives you an opportunity to look at her
Mm-hmm.
and think, yes, she's your mini me,
Yeah.
but this is what the healthy version
Yes.
growing
I
up
think about
would
that
look
all the
like.
time that like she was my chance to like heal the inner child in me. Like she's
Yes.
getting the childhood that I always dreamed of and wanted.
100%.
And while I'm not perfect at
Yep.
being a mom, she has a completely different life story than I did and I get to do that for her. I get to
Yeah.
be a healthy healthy mom.
Yeah.
And we're healthy parents. Like you said, they don't have to wonder if we're going to be screaming at each other or what she's coming home from school, those types of things. So it's a huge blessing. It sucks to have to be the one to take on that responsibility of
Yeah.
breaking those generational cycles because it's not easy. Like
No.
it's hard.
And when you're doing back-to-back pregnancies
Yes.
too, and
Mm-hmm.
your emotions are all over the place, like I always say, I hear it takes 2 years to get back to
Yeah.
normal. I'm like, I didn't even give myself two
I had a
years
kid every 2 years.
until I was pregnant
Yeah.
again. And, and I was thinking the other day, I'm like, Emberly has never
Mm-hmm.
seen me without a baby
Yeah.
bump or without having a newborn.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is going to be a whole new era
Right.
for her.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be 7 and all of these little experiences, she's
Yeah.
going to get truly the best version of me
Yeah.
because I'm finally
Yeah.
saying, okay, I'm going to the
Yeah.
gym. I'm going to make sure that I
Exactly.
do something for myself,
Yep.
whether that's going and stopping at Little Bear
Yep.
or,
And then they'll see that that's okay to invest in
yes,
yourself. I think that it's important for them to see what that looks like healthily, like taking care of
yes.
yourself and being the best version of you. So then she feels free to be the best version of
Oh,
herself as well.
100%. And she's so confident. And
Mm-hmm.
it, like, every morning when I'm getting her ready for school, I'm like telling her, I'm like, you're so
Yeah.
beautiful. Like, you're going to have such a good day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to, all your friends, like, they love you
Yeah.
and we love you. And I can see it in her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, it just reassures
Yeah.
her. And then I feel good afterwards because I'm like,
Yeah.
she's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Like,
And we do that with all kinds of like, you're funny, you're smart, you're
Yep.
kind. Like, not everything is about, physically looking a certain way. And then you get to see that, like you said, their confidence and they
and how
know
they
that they're
treat other
kind.
people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care
Mm-hmm.
what my children do
Yeah.
when they're older, as long as they are kind
Yep.
people. I just want
And
to
I
be
love
raising
getting
good humans.
compliments about my kids like that too. And they're like,
Oh, me too.
they are so well behaved or
Yep.
they are so polite. And I'm like, I
They
know.
better be.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
better be because that's how we're raising them in a world where that's not the norm is
Oh, yeah.
to, raise your kids to have manners and be
Well,
polite.
exactly. And they're seeing a lot from, like we were talking about earlier, with social media
Yep.
and TV shows.
Mhm.
And like she'll be watching a YouTube video and I'll listen to how
Yeah.
the girl talks to her parents.
Yeah.
And I'm like immediately turning it off because
We had to take away YouTube for that.
because then she mimics those people for like 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like,
Then Stella had a friend come over who had a tablet and could watch YouTube. And
Yep.
so Stella's like watching it. I'm like, we don't
I
watch
know.
that. So I'm
That's hard
sorry,
too.
but I'm not everybody else's mom. And what
Yep.
happened when you watched YouTube the last time, we don't align with that. And so we're not doing that. And it's not fair for you to bring a friend over here and then do that
Exactly. And then
anyway.
you're the worst mom
Yeah.
ever. Like, why are
I'm
you
always like,
doing this to
okay.
me? Yeah. I'm like,
Oh well.
okay, babe.
Yeah.
Like, love you.
You'll thank me one day. Bye.
Exactly. Well, and I almost am sometimes too hard on
Yeah.
her because I'm like, I just think like 5 years down the road,
Yeah.
I'm like, please don't do anything like
Right.
mommy did. Like, I cannot wait until I can actually have those, hard conversations with
Mhm.
her that this is why mommy and daddy were
Yeah.
so hard on you guys growing up
Right.
because we want what's best for you.
And I hope that those are conversations that they like. I want her to be able to come to me her freshman year of high school and say,
Exactly.
Mom, all of these people they want to do X, Y, and Z. I don't want to be
Exactly.
left out. I want to try, like, I want her to be able to communicate with me so that I can help navigate what that looks like and
Mhm.
not end up with her sneaking behind my back, go into a
Yep.
cornfield drunk. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
I want her to be able to say, okay, well, I kind of want to do this. It's not fair that you don't let me. And then her being open to my response as to why not and those types of things. But all of that is built now, like when
Exactly.
they're 7 and
And I
8.
don't think people realize that truly that they, everyone always says, well, they won't remember this or they won't
Right.
remember that. I'm like, no, they are learning core
Mm-hmm.
values that they're going to take for the rest of
Forever.
their lives. I mean, think about when we were freshman year and we were in class, we were lost,
Oh my gosh.
lost. And we didn't have the, people that we could talk to about these
Right.
things. And
I mean, we thought we had it all figured out though.
oh,
I mean,
100%. No one could tell
no.
me anything. Well, you kind of talk about that in your new book. So let's bring that out. Let's talk
Yeah.
about it.
So I wrote a book, Piece by Piece,
I
by
love
me.
it.
And it kind of just talks about, it's a fictional story,
Yep.
it's not all true, but it is based on a lot of my own
Personal
life
experiences.
experience. And the character goes through a lot as a child and trauma, and then in her adult years has to overcome all of those things.
Yep.
And then towards the end of the book, it was kind of freeing for me because I got to write a future that I hope to be for me and my kids. And
Yep.
so
Love that.
while it's fictional story, it was a way for me to kind of manifest the woman that I hope to continue to become
Yep.
and what I want for my kids in life. And so it was healing in a lot of ways
Oh,
to,
100%.
write all of this and like give it
Yep.
to the public.
I'm
And
sure just getting lost
Mhm.
in all of those thoughts,
Yeah.
and it probably brought up a lot of
Yes,
emotions for
it
you
did.
though, and a lot of maybe memories that you kind of blocked
It
out.
did.
Because I'll go through that sometimes, and I'm like, man, I
Mhm.
really put that down to
Yeah.
where it comes up at the most random time. So I can
Yeah.
imagine that was just
Well, and that's where it started. I started
yeah,
writing through therapy because
yeah,
it was just a way to kind of release all of that stuff. Like you said, you bury down and you're like,
yeah,
okay, I'll never talk about that again. It's not
and you
good
don't
for me.
realize how traumatic that is
Yes.
truly.
And then writing it all out and bringing it back up, it was almost like going through it all again. And
Well, it's
then,
like for full circle.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
being able to come up with a new, healthier way to deal with it and release it and put it out there. I mean, it was terrifying to write some of these things, or like some of my most inner thoughts that
Yeah.
I've never shared with anyone is written into this book. And then to say, okay, here's my heart, like completely
Exactly.
vulnerable.
Exactly. And when you put something out there for the public, you don't know what the
Yeah.
response is going to be.
Hmm.
But the response for you, I mean, has been
I was shocked.
huge,
I was so shocked.
huge the way people are showing up. And I think it's great because they can say, you know what, I relate to you. And I
Hmm.
didn't even know that
Didn't even know.
we,
Hmm.
relate on so
Yeah.
much.
And that was my goal. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, sell a book that I wrote. It
Yep.
was a release for me, but then also if my story resonates with at least, one person and helps one person change their life or break a generational curse or find God again or
Yep.
believe again, then it was worth it to be vulnerable and share some of that. So, like I said, it's hard to be the one that goes through the trauma and then has to come out of
100%.
it, but there can be good in whether it's postpartum or, childhood trauma, religious trauma, like there can be an end result that's good out of that.
Exactly.
If you
It's
have
all your
people,
perspective.
yeah,
Yes, it's all your perspective and what you do to change the course.
hmm,
Because, I mean, you're in control.
Yeah.
We could have both, ended up in
Yeah.
completely different paths, but we chose to say, we're going to do the hard
Right.
things.
And it is harder, but the fruit that comes from it is so much greater. Like our children, our marriage,
Exactly.
all of that are, fruits of the work that we
Yeah.
put in now. So,
Well, and you can just be like, when you put yourself first and you heal your own self and you
Mhm.
find self love, you treat everyone else around you
Yes.
so much better. Like, I am a better mom, wife, friend, sister,
Mhm.
daughter, granddaughter when I. I'm happy with
Right.
myself. And I know that there's obviously always work that you can
Mhm.
do and things that can be changed, but just showing up for yourself
Mhm.
every single day, just like you do everyone else. Because I always say, you can't be everyone,
Right. To
you can't,
everyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And nothing to yourself. Like
Right.
you are doing yourself the biggest disservice by not showing up for
Right.
yourself.
And I think you learn to love life a little better when you love yourself more. Like
Exactly.
you enjoy little things like the wind blowing on your face, like
That's how I
the
am. I'm like,
sunset, like
you have to romanticize every single
everything.
thing because it can all be gone
Mhm.
tomorrow.
And it's so much easier when you love the body you're in, love the heart that you've been given, like love your mind. And when you
Yes.
feed that, your body, your soul, your mind with good things, good comes out of
Well,
it.
and other people see that. Like
Oh, yeah.
I have people that will come to me and they're like, "Haley, just by, what you said to me the other day or I saw you posted this or
Mhm.
you made a video talking about this, like I feel
Yeah.
seen." And you will inspire people that you didn't even know were watching
Yep.
you. And
Energy does not lie.
no,
It does not.
exactly. You being exactly who you say you are, it will only get you
Mhm.
good things. Like,
And you got to find who you are and then
yep,
live it out. This is me, like it or leave it. This is
exactly.
what you're going to
and
get.
and setting those healthy boundaries
Mhm.
instead of, because I've always said like you can't be friends with every single
That was
person.
hard for me.
Me too,
Mhm.
because in high school I didn't really have like a big group of
Right.
friends. So now in adulthood when I have all these people that are like, let's be friends, let's be
Mhm.
friends, it's like you gotta, watch who you bring in your
Mhm.
circle because you never know who could
Right.
be, an evil eye, and
Mhm.
then things start going bad and
Like
you
I'm too old for that. I do not
exactly
have the time to deal with
no.
that.
So
We're almost 30. So,
exactly. But just knowing that
yeah,
is a huge
being able to
thing.
discern energy is a huge thing that I've just learned
Me
within like
too.
the last
About year.
maybe like year or
Yeah.
so. And then being able to say, no, I don't have the time or space for this and not feeling guilty about like not everybody has to be your best friend. Some people can be a
Exactly.
friend for a season and that's great.
Well, and learning the difference between acquaintance,
Friend,
friend,
best
best
friend.
friend, like you don't have to give every single person a piece of you
Mhm.
because not everyone deserves it.
Right. And that little piece of you may not stay there. And so learning to trust your instincts and, your core people, to be vulnerable with yourself and trust that it's not going
100%.
to go anywhere else. Like I'm sharing the most vulnerable pieces of
Mhm.
my life. I don't want to be nervous and thinking that it's going to go everywhere else. Like I don't have time for
Or what
that.
people are thinking.
Yeah. Or
And that's what I always say. Like, I know exactly who I am.
exactly.
So you can tell me whatever you want about me,
Hmm.
but I know at the end of the day who I am. I know
Right.
my heart.
It's
So
taken me a long time to get there, but I know
exactly.
now.
But we put in the work,
Yeah.
sister. I mean, we went through the trenches
Yeah.
of finding ourselves to be the best version of
Hmm.
ourselves. Like we're entering in an era of ourselves
Yeah.
being the best version. So I just think that's
I'm
great.
excited to see how our 30s go because
Oh,
I feel
I
like
can't wait.
20s have been forever
Everything.
long.
Yes, forever long. I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
I'm
Like,
looking
let's
forward to it. People are sad, like death to my
I'm not
20s. I'm like,
no.
please let it be
Yeah,
good.
let me go into the
Thrive.
30s thriving.
Yeah.
Yes, 30 and thriving. That's
Yeah.
gonna be us.
Same.
So, I
Yeah.
can't wait to see it.
You can find it on Amazon. There is only a paperback version for now. We are working on producing an ebook version as well. But you can just find it piece by piece by Lori Aiden on Amazon and you can purchase there.
It's seriously so good. I love it. I can't put it down. I'll be sitting here like just reading.
Yeah.
Tyler's like, "What are you doing? You're actually reading?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm actually reading. This is the only book I've read
Yeah.
in like 5 years."
I mean, it is technically a novel, but it reads more like kind of like poetry. It's not like a
Oh, it's so easy.
Yeah.
The flow is so good.
I tried to make it that way.
Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much for being
thanks for
my
having
first
me.
guest. This was so fun. I feel like we were just like at dinner
Yeah.
chatting. It was awesome. So, thank you guys for watching. We hope that you enjoyed this conversation and that it resonates with some of our audience. And we are looking forward to episode 2. Thanks, guys.
Washing my tears away, I watch my heartbreak go down the drain.